Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Justin Wolf from Wolf Customs. In my last video, I discussed acclimating your body to cold temperature. This is something that I truly believe is very important, and I think that everybody should do it. Of course, keep in mind, some people that have heart conditions and everything else may not be the best thing for them. However, the people that do not have health problems, like to go out and spend time in Mother Nature, this time of the year can be very brutal, if not life-threatening. So to properly acclimate your body is truly, truly important. So if you haven't seen that video, please check it out. Now this video is on what's next. You've started the acclimation process, so now what should you do? Well, you should have the appropriate clothing. Appropriate clothing is crucial and key to staying warm and comfortable when you're camping, hunting, hiking, whatever it may be when winter comes. So in my personal opinion, what is the most crucial part of your clothing system? My honest opinion, okay, is the base layer. I truly believe that a good, solid base layer is the absolute key to your cold weather clothing system. Right now is what I'm wearing is a synthetic base layer. Okay, this base layer is a synthetic piece, polyester or something along them lines. I can't remember exactly, but this thing is just ultra warm, and it's just super thin. Okay, now it's ultra warm because I've already started that acclimation process. Okay, I sit in my office with the windows open and the fan going and wearing nothing but my shorts with the fan going and everything else. It's 40 degrees, so I'm comfortable doing that. So when I come downstairs right here where it's climate controlled and put something like this on, I'm gonna get hot. That's what I want. I want to have a good amount of warmth just from this layer itself. Now, you don't have to wear something like this. A lot of people choose something along the lines of a polypro. And I also will wear polypros from time to time, but I have found that this works better for me than a polypro. I don't exactly know why. It might be a mental thing for all I know. But for some reason, just something simple like this works better for me than a polypro. It also takes up less room. It's thin, and it's not as bulky. So like I said, I truly believe that the base layer is the most important layer of them all. And there's going to be a lot of people out there that are pro-wool and anti-synthetic, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I, however, am the guy that mixes. I love my wool and I love my synthetics. I mix them. If you was to try to find a base layer wool system like this, long johns for example, if you was to try to find 100% wool long johns, they are very expensive. I'm not a rich man, I can't afford them. So I stick with something that I can afford. That's why I choose this. Speaking of long johns are made, 90% of the time, long johns are made of 100% cotton. All of us know by now, 100% cotton is going to get us hurt, especially with a base layer. All that sweat gets stuck right there, up against your skin, then that breeze comes in, throw them suckers away, throw them away. And then for anybody that's watching this video that is just starting this, do your research on cotton in wintertime versus cotton in the summertime. Cotton is great during the summer because it traps that sweat and it turns that shirt into an air conditioner when that breeze hits you. The wintertime does the same thing, but we don't want to be an air conditioner. We want to be a furnace. I know a lot of people think that this might be a lot of regurgitation. And it is. But like I said, there are people out there that are just starting this, and they need to hear this. And the more information we pump out there, the easier it is for these new people to find. So put these videos out there. Even if you're watching this video, you see me do it, turn around, do it yourself. It's not regurgitation. It's not copying off of somebody else. It's getting that information out there for everybody to view. Your way might be a little bit different. I might learn something from you. You might learn something from me. Enough of that. Let's keep going. So we've got our base layer, right? So now what's next? Obviously a good inner layer, you know. So is what I like to choose is two things. I will either go with another synthetic like this. Good Lord, I need to put that hat back on. I look like a frickin' hobo. Okay, I'll either choose this, which is another very lightweight, thin synthetic, not bulky at all. Problem with synthetics, as most of you know, you get next to a fire, you get an ember on you, burns right through. So, oftentimes, instead of this, I will choose a nice, thick wool shirt instead. So now, I can cozy up next to that fire, and I don't got to worry about burning holes through my clothing and everything else. Got this on, nice and protected, nice and cozy warm. Perfect, perfect. So now, depending on whether or not you're up against a fire, or if you're hiking, or if you're in very extreme cold weather, now is when you have to decide, okay, am I going to have yet another medium layer, or am I just going to stick with this? I'll tell you right here and right now, when it's cold out, if I'm hiking, this is where I would stop. This right here. Maybe even take this off depending on how cold it is or how warm it is outside. Because when you're moving, you're exercising, you're going to be sweating and everything else. Yes, the underlayer wicks moisture away, but it's not magic. It doesn't just wick it away just like that. You're still going to deal with moisture and everything else. So that's why I say dress light when you're hiking, camping, doing something very exerting. Put more on when you're sitting stagnant. So let's say, for an example, that right now I'm sitting stagnant. I probably want another medium layer. So at that point, I would probably choose another wool shirt. I'm going to be horribly hot. I'm already horribly hot. So I can put this wool shirt on now, and now I've really got myself set up really good for the elements. But if I knew that it was going to be that cold, that is when I would put this on. Then I would put my wool on. Most of the time, this is overkill, especially if you've acclimated your body. If you've acclimated your body, this is overkill. If you haven't, you're going to want that on. So now comes your outer layer. Your outer layer is what I choose. Is this coat right here. Most of you guys have seen it in my past videos. Okay, very thick wool coat. Now, it's guaranteed somebody is going to ask me where I got it. This is a Columbia shirt, or coat, excuse me, and I got it from Cabela's. Justin, what about your lower body? What are you doing for that? Good point, about forgot. Take this off before I overheat. So my pants, my legs, and everything else. Your underwear, okay? Most of your underwear is made out of cotton. Throw it out. Get some Under Armour. Get that synthetic. Let it wick that moisture away. Your groin is the hottest part of your body. That's where you're going to sweat the most. So you really need that down there to be able to wick moisture. Last thing you want is to freeze your off. Alright, so the same base layer you see here is the exact same base layer that I've got on my legs, except it's an Under Armour brand. Right now, this is probably my favorite wool sock, these Smart Wools. It's a synthetic wool blend, which I personally think is perfect. Like I said, I love mixing my synthetics and my wools together. So for me, this Smart Wool sock right here is absolutely perfect. And I wear Smart Wool year-round, whether it's summer or winter. It just depends on what thickness I wear. Now when it's super cold, I might wear 2 pairs, but no more than 2 pairs. You know, a lot of people when they first start going outside, especially your hunters and everything else, they're outdoorsmen, but they really don't camp in it. You know, they just go out in it every once in a while. One of the biggest problems people have is with their feet. And is what they'll do is they'll take like 5 pairs of cotton socks and put all 5 pairs on their feet. This is great in the very beginning. They're toasty warm, but it's doing 2 things. It's constricting your blood flow in your feet, and again, it's cotton. So now you've put those on, you're very toasty warm, you're driving to your location, your feet are sweating. So you get out, you hike in, now your feet are really just sweating. Your socks don't, they're not wicking moisture to the outer layers. It's just pooling up against your skin. You get stagnant, you sit there, and the next thing you know, your feet are frozen. So limit your socks down to 1 to 2 pairs. I know that sounds like you should probably be opposite, but it's true. Now when I'm actually bedding in for the night, I will take my wool socks off because I change my socks quite frequently. Anybody that's ever camped with me knows that I'm super anal retentive about changing out my socks and keeping my feet dry. So when I bed down for the night, I'll throw these on right here. This is a 100% super thick sock that my good buddy Greg got me. Greg, I love these things, man. Footwear. What can I say? I love my mucks. These are the Arctic Sport. Love these things. Problem is, you sweat. And that is why I carry several pairs of socks, change them out. Now on my legs, this is my absolute favorite pair of pants right here. These are German wool cargo pants. They're getting hard to find, but if you can get your hands on a pair of these, man, they are awesome. They are super warm, and they've got these nice cargo pockets on the side to stick your gloves or your hat or something like that in there when you're not using them. They're fantastic. Super thick, super warm. Can't say enough good things about these pants for sure. Alright, now I know I've flapped my gums quite a bit about the medium layer, but one more thing I want to touch on is, depending on how cold it is, you might also consider using a hooded item, whether it be fleece or wool, whatever, doesn't matter. Again, the people that I camp with know that very seldom do I leave home without this particular fleece hooded sweatshirt right here. If you go back, watch any of my winter camp videos, more than likely you're going to see this right here. I always have this with me, because that leads us into our head and our hands. This right here, just having a hood changes everything for you. I mean, I know it's not up against your skin, but you can cinch it down. But just loose like this is an absolute game changer. So then if it's super, super cold, is what I use, is a buddy of mine, Christopher Putman, made this for me last year. This is a Boggins for your noggins cap. I actually did a video specifically on this cap. I love these things right here. These are hand knitted, 100% wool. And when I first got it, I was a little unsure about it because you can see the daylight. I was really concerned if the wind was going to cut through there. The wind does cut through there, but the beautiful thing is this, as you sweat, because you will sweat, as you sweat, that wind cuts right through there and dries it out. It's really amazing how it works. I love this cap. Absolutely love it. I actually have a neck gaiter that I'll wear at times also, but right now I'm in panic mode because I can't find the damn thing. So yeah, panic mode. Throw this hood on over that cap, you're warm. You're definitely warm. Pull that gaiter up, you're good to go. Alright, so gloves, or your hands, that's the next thing. Your hands and your feet, your ears, those are always the things that's hardest to keep warm. And the reason those are the hardest to keep warm is because when your body feels that cold, your brain tells your other extremities to send all blood to your core to keep it warm. So the blood from your ears, the blood from your nose, your hands, and your feet go right to your core. So that's why most people have a hard time keeping their hands and their feet and everything warm. So what I like to use is these right here. They're 100% wool, fingerless gloves. I freaking love these things. It doesn't matter how cold it gets, as long as you're moving around or working, cutting wood, or whatever it is, you will stay warm with these. In the beginning, your fingertips will get a little chilly, but once you start working, that blood starts running back into your hands and everything else, and you stay ultra warm with these. Absolutely ultra warm, and you can still do those finer task things. And then when you're settled down for the night and you're cozied up next to your fire, again, they're absolutely perfect. And then when you bed down and go to sleep for the night, again, they're perfect. But if you're sitting stagnant and you don't have, a fire or anything else, say that you're hunting or something along them lines, then this is not going to work very well for you. Sit stagnant, your hands are going to start getting very cold. So you have other choices at that point. You can wear something like this, which is again 100% wool. Problem is, even when you start, these things are super thick. When you're moving around doing things, they're great, and they actually have these little rubberized dots, help for grip. Again though, when you sit and you get stagnant, man, it's really hard to keep your hands warm just with this and this alone. That's when a mitten really comes in handy. Like this glove, again, it's fingerless, 100% wool, but I can bring that over there just like that, and it really helps keep your hands warm. Now when the chips are down and it's just bitter, bitter ass cold, these are the way to go right here. These GI trigger finger gloves. I love these things. I actually have waterproofed mine. I did a video on waterproofing this thing some time back. But these things come with a nice thick pair of wool mittens. And then you put this on over those mittens, and man, you are toasty warm. And there's another pair of mittens in there. That's why that was getting all bunched up. You get these in there and they are just super, super warm. That heat just rolls around in there like a madman. It's very seldom that I actually use these things because where I live, our temperature, it's usually a cold, wet situation versus bitter, bitter, bitter dry cold. So most of the time I can get away without using those, but they are crucial. Alright, so I've babbled about your headgear, your socks, your pants, your underlayer, your medium layer, your top layer. The next thing, in my personal opinion, that is absolutely crucial is your shell. This is what keeps you dry. I use Gore-Tex. I have both pants and the jacket. Now these jackets, they're called like cold weather jackets or whatever. Don't be misled, okay? These things have zero insulation properties to them. Zero. You wear just this jacket and a base layer out in extreme cold weather and you're going to freeze to death. These things are not warm at all. They're just a shell. They're just to keep you dry. These things work very well. You guys have seen in my past videos where I've worn this rain, sleet, snow, and I'm always super dry. Now in extreme downpours, will the rain eventually get through Gore-Tex? Gore-Tex will eventually fail. It takes a lot of rain to make Gore-Tex fail, but yes, it can fail. Do your own research. Decide if Gore-Tex is right for you. Now there is Gore-Tex brand, and then there's the other guys. You can find these jackets all day long for relatively cheap prices. But on the inside, underneath your liner, let's see if I can find one real quick. When you get up to the seams, it will say Gore Seal. I don't know if you can see that or not. If it doesn't say that, it's not Gore-Tex. Like this jacket right here. This jacket looks identical. I mean, absolutely identical. And it works. It sheds rain. Pull back the liner, go into the seams. No Gore Seal. This is not a Gore-Tex jacket. Alright, one more thing before I go. A lot of people out there truly only want to wear wool, and then some people only want to wear synthetics. I truly believe that when you mix these things together, you really get a good solid system. I really do. There's perks and cons to both wool and synthetics. Unfortunately, a lot of people believe that a synthetic does not hold body temperature when wet. Last year, I jumped through a frozen pond wearing only synthetic material. Well, I think I had wool pants on. Yeah, I had wool pants on because I don't own a pair of synthetic wool pants. Oh, synthetic wool. A synthetic pair of pants. So I had my wool pants on. Other than that, I had all synthetic. I had this exact layer here, and I had that exact hoodie that I showed back there on. I jumped through the pond. I did that twice. If you watch the video, you'll understand why. During that time, I was able to control myself. I was able to get a fire going and have the ability to dry myself out. Synthetic will hold body temperature even when wet, just like wool. The thing that wool has over synthetic is its fire retardant. Anyway, make up your own decisions about wool and synthetic because I'm not going to force my opinions onto you. Everybody should have their own mind, their own brain, and think for themselves. Just my opinion. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video on cold weather clothing. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.